It's a funny thing, loyalty. I gave this company 5 years of my life. I'm not talking about just showing up. I'm talking about skipped lunches, late nights, and working weekends to put out fires that nobody else knew how to fix. I was Mark, the reliable guy, the problem solver. And for 1 solid year, I had my eye on one thing: the senior analyst promotion. My boss, David, had been dangling it in front of me for months. He'd clap me on the back and say, "You're my guy, Mark. Your performance review is stellar. It's in the bag. Just keep doing what you're doing." And I believed him. I was hitting all my targets. My projects were under budget, and I was even mentoring the new hires. I was doing the new job before I even had the new job. Then, one Monday, Cody showed up. David brought him over to my desk, all smiles. "Mark, this is Cody. He's going to be joining our team." Cody looked like he had just rolled out of a college party. Expensive, brand new shoes, a smug little smile, and he was already scrolling through his phone before David even finished the introduction. "Cody here is my nephew," David said, and my stomach just dropped. "He just graduated," David continued, "and I told him this is the best place to learn. I want you to train him, Mark. Show him the ropes." Show him the ropes? For the next 2 weeks, my job was teaching a brick wall how to use a computer. Cody was, to put it politely, completely useless. He had a business degree from some university I'd never heard of, but he could barely use Excel. I'm not talking about complex stuff. I'm talking about basic formulas. He'd ask me to just do it for him. He would show up at 10:30 a.m. with a smoothie, take a 2-hour lunch, and be gone by 4 p.m. All the while, I was doing my job, and I was also doing his job. I was getting stressed, my deadlines were slipping, and every time I brought it up to David, he just laughed. He'd say, "He's just a kid, Mark. Cut him some slack. We've all been there." I don't know about you, but I've never been there. Then came the email for the promotion announcement. The whole team got it. David was calling a 3 p.m. meeting. My heart was pounding. Finally, all the stress would be worth it. I walked into that meeting room, and David was standing at the front, beaming. "Team," he said, "it's my great pleasure to announce our new senior analyst." He paused for dramatic effect. I was already planning my victory speech. "Cody!" I just stared. The room clapped, kind of weakly. Cody just stood there and did a little bro nod like he was accepting an award he'd been expecting. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. All the air left my lungs. I waited for the meeting to end, my hands shaking. I didn't hear another word. As people were filing out, I walked up to David and I said, "David, can I have a word?" He looked annoyed. "Sure, Mark. What's up?" "The promotion. You told me it was mine. I'm the one who trained him. David, he doesn't know how to do the job." David's friendly smile just vanished. His whole face changed. It was like a mask fell off. "Mark," he said, his voice cold, "Cody is a great fit for this team. He's got fresh ideas. We need to think about the big picture." "The big picture? I've given you 5 years, David. His resume it's just not real. He can't do the work." "You need to be a team player, Mark. Your attitude right now is exactly why I had second thoughts. Maybe you're just not ready for that next step." He turned and walked away. I went back to my desk, and I just sat there. I was humiliated. I was angry, but most of all, I felt like a fool. I wanted to pack my things and quit right there, just throw my laptop against the wall and walk out. But then I looked over at Cody. He was leaned back in his new chair, feet up on the desk, laughing on his phone. And I thought, no, you don't get to win. That night, I didn't sleep. I made a plan. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to quit. I was going to be the best employee David had ever seen. The next morning, I walked up to Cody's desk with a big smile. "Hey, Cody, congrats again, man. So deserved. Listen, I want to help you get settled in. I know there's a lot to learn." He just grunted. Thanks, man." "So," I said, "I'm going to start forwarding you some of my old reports and email chains, just so you can see how things are done. You're the boss now, after all." His eyes lit up a little. "Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's cool. Less work for me, right?" "Exactly." And so, my plan began. Phase 1, the paper trail. I became the most helpful person in the world, and every single time I helped, I did it over email. I started simple. I sent him an email with the subject line, "Following up, Excel guide." The email said, "Hey Cody, per our chat, just wanted to send you that link to the VLOOKUP for Beginners guide I promised. Let me know if you have any questions. All the best, Mark." He replied 2 hours later, "Thanks, was totally lost." I saved that email to a special folder, evidence file number 1. A few days later, I sent him another one. Subject, third quarter report handover. The email said, "Hi Cody, as the new senior analyst, you'll be responsible for pulling the third quarter performance metrics for David's big report. Just letting you know the raw data is on the shared drive at this file path. David usually needs it by end of day. Let me know if you need anything. Cheers, Mark." This was the core task of the senior analyst. It was the main part of the job. 3 hours later, I got an email back. It said, "Hey man, I can't find this, and it looks super complicated. Can you just do it for me this one time? David is on my back about it." I replied, "No problem, Cody. Happy to help. I'll get it done now. Mark." I saved the whole chain. Evidence file number 2. Phase 2, the liability. Now that I had proof he was unqualified, I needed to prove that David knew he was unqualified and that it was now hurting the company. David's boss, our vice president, was a woman named Sarah. Sarah did not mess around. She was tough, smart, and she hated incompetence. I knew David had a big presentation with Sarah coming up. I helped Cody prepare the numbers for it. Except I left in a massive error, a huge glaring mistake that miscalculated our entire quarterly profit. It was the kind of mistake a first-year intern would make. I sent the file to Cody. "Hey Cody, here's that data for the big presentation. All you need to do is give it a final review and send it to David. Good luck." I watched him. He didn't even open the file. He just forwarded it straight to his uncle. "Here you go, David-C." I just smiled. The next day, David's presentation happened. I wasn't in it, but I heard the explosion from down the hall. Sarah, the VP, was furious. David came storming out of that meeting room, his face bright red. He marched right over to my desk. "Mark," he yelled, and the whole office went quiet. "My report, it was completely wrong. You made me look like an idiot in front of Sarah." I put on my most confused face. "What, David? I don't understand. I passed that data to Cody yesterday for final review. That's his responsibility now, isn't it?" David just stared at me. He had no answer. He knew I was right. He knew he couldn't throw his new senior analyst under the bus because that would mean admitting he'd hired a fool. He just pointed a finger at me. "Fix it, now." And he stomped off. This was the last piece I needed. I drafted an email to David, and I CC'd Cody. The subject was Apology and Correction, Third Quarter Presentation Data. The email said, "Hi David, I am so sorry about the error in the presentation today. You are right to be upset. Per our conversation, I have found the mistake in the spreadsheet and attached the corrected version here. As you know, I sent the original file to Cody at 2:15 p.m. yesterday for his final review, as he is the senior analyst responsible for this data. I've attached that email chain here for your reference. I will be sure to double-check all of Cody's work from now on to ensure this doesn't happen again. My apologies, Mark. That was evidence file number 3. The final nail. I had it all. Proof that Cody was unqualified, proof that he wasn't doing his job, and now proof that David was protecting him even when it hurt the company and made his own boss angry. I waited until 8 p.m. that night. When everyone else was gone, the office was dark and quiet. I opened a new email. I didn't send it to David. I didn't send it to the VP. I sent it to the very top. The email was to Cynthia Bishop, Head of Global Compliance and Ethics. I CC'd Sarah, the VP, and the Head of Human Resources. The subject line was confidential concern regarding HR policy and management in the analytics department. I took a deep breath, and I wrote the single most polite, professional, and devastating email of my life. I'll read it to you. Dear Miss Bishop, my name is Mark, and I am a 5-year employee in the analytics department, managed by David. I am writing to you today to request confidential guidance. I am a dedicated employee, and I believe strongly in our company's official code of ethics, specifically our policies on fair hiring and nepotism. I am in a difficult situation, and I am not sure how to proceed. I put the date, the position of senior analyst was filled by David's nephew, Cody, who had just joined the company. I was personally told by David for months that I was the only candidate for this role. I was then asked to train Cody. During this training, I found that he was unable to perform the most basic functions of the job, functions that were listed as expert on his resume. I have attached 3 email chains for your review. Exhibit A shows Cody being unable to perform a basic Excel VLOOKUP, a core competency for this role. Exhibit B shows Cody delegating his primary job functions back to me because he found them too complicated. Exhibit C shows a major data error that was missed by Cody during his final review, which was then presented to VP Sarah and caused significant embarrassment for our department. David, his manager, was aware of this. I am not a manager, but I am now spending my time correcting my superior's mistakes to protect our department. I am not asking for a promotion or for any disciplinary action. I am just a loyal employee who is concerned that our management is being exposed to serious risk and liability by violating the company's own written policies. Can you please provide guidance on what my next steps should be? Thank you for your time. Sincerely, Mark, Employee ID 248637. I stared at the send button for a full minute. My hand was shaking. This was it. I was either getting them fired or I was getting myself fired. I hit send. The next morning, the silence was deafening. David didn't look at me. Cody didn't even show up. At 10 a.m., I got a meeting request from HR. It was just for me. I walked in, my stomach in knots. A woman from HR I'd never seen before and Sarah, the VP, were sitting there. Mark, thank you for coming, Sarah said. We received your email. We appreciate your discretion. The HR woman said, the company takes policy violations very seriously, Mark. We have reviewed the documents you sent. An investigation was opened last night. And that was it. They just said thank you and that it was being handled. I went back to my desk. At 2 p.m., the HR woman and 2 security guards walked up to David's office. They went inside and the door shut. 10 minutes later, they walked out. David was in front, white as a ghost, carrying a small cardboard box. He wouldn't look at anyone. They walked right over to Cody's desk, which was still empty. They packed his things for him. They were both gone in less than 15 minutes. Fired. The office was in silent shock. An hour later, Sarah, the VP, called me into her office. She closed the door. That was a mess. "I'm sorry," I said. "Don't be," she said. "You did the right thing. You didn't yell, you didn't gossip, you collected evidence and you sent it to the right people. You protected the company. That's what a senior analyst should do." She smiled at me. "The job is yours, Mark, effective immediately. And David's old office is empty if you want it." So, like I said, it's a funny thing, loyalty. My old boss was loyal to his family, but I was loyal to the job. And in the end, the company was loyal to its own rule book. So if you're in a situation like I was, don't get mad, get smart. Get a paper trail. And learn how to write one perfect email.